Hello everyone and welcome back to Priest Brothers Lines. It has been a while since I've had an update on the layout, so I thought I would go ahead and do that because I have had a lot of work done lately. I posted a few videos of me on a vacation across the country, seeing various train-related sites, but now I've been back in the garage. I've also been back to work too, so I've had time to work on it and time to not work on it. So let's go ahead and swing around and we can get a better view of what I've done so far. So we will start here in Clyde Yard. So I got my yard sign right there. This is going to be called Clyde Yard. My grandfather was named Clyde. He is the one who was into HO trains and is also the one whose HO trains I have in that wall display. So I decided to name the yard after him. And so this is where I've got a lot of the work done. I've been putting ballast down in my yard. This particular ballast is Brennan's Better Ballast. It is his yard mix. It's very dark. It's mostly black with a little bit of darker gray in there. I think it's turned out really nice. As you can see, I've also installed lights. So I have these yard lights in here. These are actually HO scale yard lights that I bought on Amazon and eBay. So in order to make them bigger, I just used dowels, painted them, and made it look like concrete bases. And so they're just tall enough now to be over the cars. Realistically, they should be taller, but I'm quite fine with this. So I've got a whole yard ballast, all these lights. They are wired up, they are functional, and we'll turn those on towards the end. If we look back here, one little feature I'm very happy about is if you look where the mountain meets the ballast, you'll notice some fallen rocks there, indicated that they have fallen from above. These rocks and pebbles that you see here are actually rocks that I collected from Sedona, Arizona. Something I like to do when I go to places is collect rocks and dirt and sand, things like that, and then display it in my house. So these were extras that I had, and I thought maybe I could use them on the layout. And here you go. So these are fallen rocks. These are actually from Sedona, Arizona, and the color matches very nice, I think. Moving on past the yard, we go to the engine shed. This was one that I scratch built, and as you can see, I've started doing the scenicking. So the ballast stops and we just have the dirt. I've been using my static grass applicator as well as bushes and other things. So the dirt that you see there, it is real dirt. It's dirt from my house, and I just added some tile grout to lighten it up, and I threw a little paprika in there too to make it a little more on the red side, as I've shown before. So that is my base there, and then I started using the static grass, and I think I've got the static grass down. And if you watched one of my previous videos, you saw how I was unsure about the static grass, but basically what happened was you can't use the 9-volt battery. They say it works, it really doesn't. You need the plug. You need you need to plug it in. That's the best way for it to work, because it works so much better with the plug. And then once I was done with it, I waited maybe 30 seconds or a minute, and then got the shop vac out and vacuumed up all the excess, but then also put the vac over the spots and just kind of sucked it up to where it started to stand up even more. And that's how I think I achieved the effect. If we come down a little lower, we get that nice standing weeds type of effect. So I think I've got the static grass looking much better than it did before. I have a mix of yellow and green, light green, medium green, and then doing that along the shed there too. This light that you see here, this is an actual O-scale light, so that's a single, whereas the others are doubles. And then over here, I added more scenery, because I am basically working from the inside out, so that's why we get this kind of strip here. And so I got a bunch of trees all going on in here, and my thinking is that there's no trees back there because they would have torn those trees down just so there was plenty of room to build the shed there. But they didn't care so much about these ones here. So again, these are all Woodland Scenics trees. I got a great deal, and I find them in stores when I go too. Sometimes they are on sale. You can see I got a little glue there still drying. But I'll put the tree in, and then I'll use a little bit of that fine dirt and just put it around to kind of seal in the tree so you don't see any gaps. Let's see if I can get an example here. So there you can see there is no seam. It just looks like it goes right into it. And we got more of the static grass going on. So let's bring our camera down a little bit. So it just adds that depth so everything's not just flat. So I think that coloring looks really nice against the red rocks there. So that is what I have been doing here for quite a while, and I'll show you the underside here too, how I wired up all of the lights. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So here is the web of wires. So I have that white and black wire there, which comes to these distribution centers here. So I bought a bunch of these, and so that goes to that one, and then it goes to that one there, and that's where most of the lights are plugged into. So those distribution little hubs are so useful, and they're so easy too. And I decided to use these little push plug types of things. Let me show you those up above. So every one of these lights needs a resistor because I'm running it on 18 volts, I think, and they can only take 3. So they need every light needs a resistor. And so I really was not looking forward to soldering all these resistors. So I found these types of plugs here. Now, Woodland Scenics actually sells their own version of these, but I didn't buy those because they were a lot more expensive than just a generic version. I found these on Amazon for super cheap. So Woodland Scenics products are great. I would buy this one on Amazon, not the Woodland Scenics brand, because it's way more expensive, and it's exactly the same thing. And it's so simple. You just get your wire there, you push this little button down, you stick your wire in the little opening, and then the spring action ties it up, and you're good to go. So that is all that I really did. I didn't have to solder anything. I didn't use wire nuts or anything. I just used these little plugs here, and they come as a pair like this, so you can put a screw in the middle there. I didn't bother with that. In fact, in many cases, I just cut them because using the resistors meant that they wouldn't be exactly parallel like these are. So I cut a lot of them up just because it worked out better, and I didn't bother screwing them down either. It takes a very particular screw with a wide enough head, but a narrow enough shaft to get down the middle there. So it's working fine, and I'll show you that demonstration here in a little bit. But I highly recommend these if you don't want to bother with soldering. These are working really nice, but they are limited in what type of wire you can use. The wire on these lights that I've been using are very small. It's probably like 32 gauge if I had to guess. So it works really nice with this, but if you're going to use anything 20 and above, just use your standard type of wire nuts and you should be fine. Here's a quick little tip that I picked up from someone. When you're getting wires that are this thin, I mean this is a very, very narrow gauge of wire. Again, we're talking probably like 28, 30 gauge. It's very, very narrow, and you can't, I'm sure they make specialty wire cutters and wire strippers that work for this, but you don't need it. All you need is fire. Just get a lighter or a candle or something and just put the flame across the sleeve there for just a second or two. It'll burn up, and you use your finger and you just like that, and you'll pull the sheathing off, the insulation off. So you don't have to worry about buying some specialty wire cutters, wire strippers, or anything like that. Literally all you need is fire. I took an evening watching some TV, had a big candle in front of me, and just put the wire across the fire for a few seconds like a marshmallow, and then pulled the insulation right off. No fuss, no problem. That's how I stripped all of these wires to get enough so I can, manipulate them. So there's a nice little trick for you to use if you have a very thin gauge of wire like this, a very small, or should we say large, about 30 gauge or so. Just use fire. It worked perfectly. So what is next? Well, I just finished ballasting all of this right here, so I need to let that dry. But really the next step is for that pad right there. See that little concrete looking pad right there? That is just hardboard. That is a technique that I picked up from Norm Charbonneau, his YouTube channel. So it's just hardboard. It's been painted, spray painted with khaki. It's part of, I think, Krylon's or Rust-Oleum, I forget, but it's their camouflage color. But it's khaki, and then you make the cuts in it, and it cuts really nice to make it look like slabs of concrete, and then do the little cracks in there. And then I just got a light wash of like a grimy brown and black color, and just kind of smeared it across the front using a rag, and just to get some colors in there. And so that is going to be a building there. That's what I'm going to build on top of it. I'm going to put a signal tower on there. So I bought one of Atlas's kits. It's the signal tower kit. So that is going to be going on top of that, and it will be sitting in that general area. So I need to get that done next before I can do anything else. So that's what I'm hoping to get done in the next week or two, and I'll probably make a video on that as well. But that's where it's going to go on top of this build pad. There should be lights inside and out, and then once I have the building down, then I can finish scenicking around it. And notice the duct tape there. So I used cork to kind of bring it back down from the foam here for the yard so that it was lower. And I don't know if I would do that again for a few reasons. One is because you can kind of see it like right over here. I mean, it's a change of level. You can sort of see where there would be, or there was cork here, and then there's just table here. So it does kind of slope down a little bit. So I had to put extra dirt on there just to cover that up. So that was a little annoying. But the most annoying part is that when you do use glue on it, at least when I did, it swelled up. So when I was doing the ballast here, let's see if we can find an example. That all looks the same on the camera. Wait, there might be a good example. But when I was doing this with the glue, so I would use diluted glue in the ballast, it would soak through, and I think it soaked through all the way to the cork down there, and I guess it wasn't all perfectly glued down, and so it kind of swelled up a little bit. And so in the middle there, it's not all flat, which I guess is okay, but it wasn't ideal. So that was another problem, is that it did soak in the glue and it swelled, which was kind of annoying. But in the end, it works out all okay. But I probably wouldn't use cork again in the future unless I knew for sure it was all really well glued down. But this was all one piece for the most part, so I could never assure that. So once I get that signal tower or switch tower done, then I can do the rest here. So this area here is going to be a parking lot for the workers for the yard, and you can see I've kind of started to draw a road. So the idea there is that there'll be a road that will come right there off the table. It'll go over these tracks. It'll just be a single lane road just for the workers. It'll go out to there somewhere, and there'll be a parking lot there. I'm probably going to make it an asphalt parking lot, and then there'll be the tower there, the switch tower. And that'll be about it for that area. Over here, I am planning on doing a beach scene, as I've mentioned before, which is why it comes down right there. And so the idea is kind of that this road will be a railroad property road, but over here somewhere, that road would have gone into this beach area. So there'll be a parking lot here, maybe here too, a fence or rocks or something to break it up there so that you couldn't just walk straight onto the tracks. And then there'd be a beach here and a water scene, something on the edge here. Haven't quite figured out how that's all going to work out, but I really like the way this is coming along there. And once I do that, then I can start to ballast. I can fill in the middle here with the dirt and a road and do all that. And then there will be a station in this area here. So I'll have some type of a station here. There'll be station platforms. I have a Menards building that is a station. So that's what will be going in this area here of Clyde Yard. And what will eventually be, I believe, Charlotte Station. Charlotte was my grandma. That was Clyde's wife. So the station will be named after her, and the yard will be named after him. So that is the plan. Still a ways away from that, but getting very close. Getting very close. I'm very happy with the way this is all coming along. And it's still so interesting how the color of the rock is much more orange in person than the camera makes it show. But I'm very happy with the way this is turning out here. The other side has nothing on it still. I'll just swing around here. I've decided that I'm going to try to complete this side as much as possible before working on the other side. So if we go over to the other side of the layout, there is still nothing done on this side. It's all just still down to the hard shell. And it's where all of my cars and everything are. So it'll be a while till we get to doing this side, but that's all right. That's all right. This side, there won't be as much rock work on there on the hill. It'll be more so dirt and grass and stuff, not so much rock. It's not going to be 100% rock like the other side is, because that was the most time-consuming part, was doing all the rock molds and then painting all the rock molds, and it was incredibly time-consuming. So this side won't take as long with the hillside, I think. Last thing we will do here is we will turn off the lights and we will look at Clyde Yard at night. Let's go ahead and do that. Welcome to Clyde Yard at night. So the yard is pretty lit up. So these LEDs, these are what I would consider cold white or bright white. They're not the warm white. I was kind of hoping for the warm white, but these are what I bought. And it's okay. You know, maybe it looks like fluorescent lights. I'm not exactly sure. And I have a light in the shed there too. I'll turn that on for us if I can reach it without knocking stuff over. There we go. There we go. So I do have a light in there. Focus. Ooh, having a lot of trouble focusing. There we go. So that's where the little switcher will be. And let's look at it from another angle. I haven't put any cars in yet just because the glue is still drying. But I will post another video of doing some things in the yard once this is all dry and everything. That'll be fun. It's been a while since I put a video of trains running, and I know you guys really want to see that, so I will be doing that very soon, I hope. I want to get that switch tower done, and then I can put cars back over here. So I'm very happy with the way this has turned out. It was incredibly time consuming doing all these lights one by one, but it was definitely worth it because the yard looks nice and lit, and Clyde Yard is ready to go. All right, everyone. Well, that is all that I have for you today. Stay tuned for a video of me with the switch tower, and then another one of me actually doing operations. It's been a while since I've run trains. So we'll see some trains running in the yard. I'll be using my switcher, putting some cars away. Should be fun. So thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate all my current subscribers. More content coming your way. Thank you all for watching. This is Priest Brothers Lines, signing off.